Yeah, appreciate it, bro. So, what's going on, everybody? Hope y'all are doing well. Hope y'all doing well. Hope all is well with you. Hopefully today I can provide you some kind of value. I've been trading since 2019, and one of the biggest things that I kind of struggled with early was trying to find what do I want to watch? Like, how do I even make a watch list? There's so many things that can go into it, but today I'm going to be sharing with you guys what has worked for me. Um, you know, I got one rule for y'all in here. The only rule I have is to ask any question that you have. Right? There are no dumb questions. So if you have any kind of question, feel free to ask because I promise you, I've asked the dumbest questions there are, if there is ever a dumb question. So feel free to ask. That's what I'm here for. Today we're gonna, just be talking about creating a watch list and what you want to look for, things of that nature. We're not gonna get into so much of all of the technicalities or technicals, sort of say. We are gonna get into it a little bit, but we're not gonna get too deep into it. Maybe if we have another one, then we will kind of go into some technicals more so. So I want to start this thing off kind of with a question. What do you guys look for in a watch list? Like when you're already making it on your own, what kind of things do you look for, or what do you believe goes into making a watch list? Y'all can put that in the chat. Okay, say volume and daily candles, room to run. I see volume. I see catalyst. I see trend, pattern, ATR, market cap, key levels. Say honestly, I have just been watching the same stocks. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Market structure, volatility, the S&P, beta, sector outlook, right? Okay. So the point of that is there are many different things you can look at, right? So it's so many different things to take into account. And that is why trading is one of the hardest things in the world to do, right? It's a reason why more than 90%, probably more than 95% of people fail, right? I feel like the thing about trading is the people that can be successful with trading are the people who can make the process as simple as it can be for themselves. Because the thing about trading, it's so many ways to do it. It's so many um, ways to trade, so many different things you got to worry about. Like it's all so much. Like it can become cloudy, right? So what I'm trying to help you guys with today is trying to kind of relieve some of that cloudiness and hopefully put you on like the straight and narrow, as they say. Um, like I said before, in case anyone kind of late joining, just a disclaimer, it's not financial advice. Give you guys my opinions. I've been doing this for 4 years, so this is something that I found that works for me. It may not work all the way for you. You might like scanners. If you do, hey, continue to do it if it works for you. No problem at all. Um, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. Now, with this, we're gonna be doing a mixture of talking and a mixture of showing you guys some examples, right? Um, so I started off with the question, what do you look for to make a watch list, or what do you think are the characteristics of a good watch list? And we had many, many, many great answers, right? There's a lot of different ways you go about this, but for myself, I'm looking for two things. So imagine an umbrella, and this would have been great for to have some kind of visual. Imagine an umbrella, right? And under that umbrella is another umbrella, and under that one is another, right? Or imagine something like a family tree, right? So you have the watch list. That's at the top. That's what you, but to have that watch list, you have to have two things. You have to have probability and you need to have profitability, right? So it has that the stocks that you're choosing need to be profitable and they need to be probable, as in the setups that you kind of look for, right? Or the things that you want to see from these type of stocks, right? So I'm gonna repeat that again because that's key. Because off of these two things, we're going to branch out. You're looking for profitability, and you're looking for probability, right? The stock market is a game of probability. Nothing more, nothing less, right? There's a reason why people say this works and this doesn't work. This works and this doesn't work, right? The truth is nothing alone works, right? It don't matter what kind of pattern you use, what kind of level, what kind of concepts you use, nothing alone works. The more things that you can get to go in your favor or to apply to your bias, the higher probability that it will be that this thing will play out. That doesn't mean that, you can have 10 things saying that, it can go one way and it can still go the other way. If you have a 99% chance of being right, you still have that 1% chance of being wrong. And truth be told, in trading, you only need that 1% chance of being wrong to blow your account if you're not careful. So you need profitability and you need probability. Now, let's kind of start branching out. Like I said, I don't got no, PowerPoint thing. We're kind of talking. I'm gonna be showing examples, right? So the way I want to go with this is, you remember in school, in what class would that be? This would be English class, right? So in English class, elementary, middle school, however, we was learning English and things of that nature, grammar. You might have heard you need to know who, what, when, and where, and sometimes why. So we need to know all 5 of those, right? To make this watch list. You need to know who, what, when, where, and why. Y'all weren't expecting to be in a grammar class today, but I'm telling you, it's a. So let's start with the first thing. Who? Right? You can't put anything on a watch list if you don't even know what you want to watch. And the who can vary, right? So there are some tactics that you are looking for volume. You may be looking for, like someone said, the sectors, right? All of that stuff can be under the who. For me personally, I love to look for things that have been trending, right? And for example, you want to be finding those stocks that do have that volume and that have been trending, and you first want to know that direction. The way that I kind of make my watch list, I don't necessarily focus so much on a few stocks, but I more so focus on setups. Because now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with learning stocks at all. Because in a grand scheme of things, I do kind of trade the same things, the same type of tech stocks, and the main stocks I trade those. But the only problem with sticking with just a couple stocks or 3 stocks or anything like that, the only problem that you will face with that is a stock will not give you a great setup all the time. This is a game of probability. You only want to be putting the highest probability setups on your watch list. You only want the highest probability setups on your watch list, right? And as much as, a stock that, if you've been following for any amount of time, I love to trade AMD. As much as I love to trade AMD stock, I probably actually trade AMD probably less than 10 to 15 times a year. As much as I like that stock, it's insane. I don't trade it that much. It's because it doesn't always give a great setup, right? You want the probability. The probability always needs to be there. So we're looking for the who. When you're looking for the who, you need to be looking for particular setups. Now, like I said before, you may already have your type of setup that you like to see, right? And if you do, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just going to show you guys how I like to look for mine. So with my type of strategy, I love to look by, first off, I run a level to level system. So I mainly trade off of levels, which is, support or resistance, and, they can flip and things of that nature, right? So I run a level to level system. And the things that you want to kind of look for in stocks that you may be thinking about possibly watching is you want to see, are they going up? Are they coming down? Or are they going sideways? Right? So those three things, you got to, first of all, you have to ask that question first. Are they going up? Are they going down? Or are they going sideways? When we are options traders, so we do not want to be in anything that is just going sideways. I can't tell you how many times back in the past when I was trying to find stocks on my watch list and I was trying to just make things out of thin air, right? I was trying to plot these stocks that were going sideways and wondering why I kept losing. Because with options, you don't want to be trading anything going sideways. You want direction. We don't care about what direction it is. We just want a solid direction, or we want to have clues that we know that a direction is coming, right? So that's number one. You have to know the direction. All right. So I don't really get, like I said, I don't get caught up in just a few stocks, but I look for a few certain things. The who, right? So that who can be anyone, right? So I know a stock. Trying to think of one that I was watching not too long ago, and I'm going to share my screen. Let me pull up. I'm going to pull up my trading view. I can talk through this with y'all live. So y'all about to get an in-depth look on some things that I'm already kind of looking at. Let me know whenever you guys can see my screen here.
We can see it.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So here are the types of things that I like to look for when I am trying to find a stock to put on my watch list. I'm looking for a direction. When I'm trying to find that who, this is what I'm watching for. I'm looking for a direction. I'm looking for the levels, and I'm looking for patterns. Those three things. When I'm looking for that who, when I'm trying to find that who, I'm looking for levels. I'm looking for patterns. Levels, patterns. That just had a brain freeze. What I just said last. Levels, patterns. And the direction, right? And for me personally, when I like to try to find things, I like to kind of start off on larger time frames. And one tip that I can give you is you really kind of want to start off your watch list by kind of looking at the reason for that is because SPY is really the indication of the entire stock market. I like to start on a weekly chart. And like I said, this isn't a technicals, workshop, but we can talk about it just a little bit. You are always looking for that direction, looking for what kind of pattern do we see, and we're looking for, well, our levels. Got someone trying to get in there. Right, so you can start on the weekly or the daily. Either one is kind of fine, right? So when you come through and you're finding your levels, that's always kind of the first thing I like to do. You find my levels, and I'm not going to kind of go through them all here on SPY, but I know we have one around 444. That would be number one, right? So I kind of ask myself these questions right here. After you find your levels, you ask yourself, is this thing forming a pattern? Is it about to break out of a pattern? Or is it near a level, about to break out of a level? Or has it already broken them? So I'll repeat that again. You want to ask yourself, is this stock forming a pattern? Is it breaking out of a pattern? Is it near a key level? Or is it breaking the key level? If this thing is breaking a level or it's about to break a level, and vice versa, just same with the patterns, then that's something that you kind of want to be watching. That can help you solve your who. If it's not doing that stuff, on to the next one. You don't want to waste your time with stocks that's not giving you probability. Those two things we need probability and we need profitability. We haven't got to the profitability yet, but we're still talking about probability. To have probability, you need your high probability setups. So whatever is your type of high probability setup, you may use smart money concepts, you may use retail concepts. Whatever is your type of high probability setups, you're looking for that. And the way I like to do it, I like to look for those on larger time frames. The reason that I like to look for these things on larger time frames is because the larger the time frame, the larger the move. The larger the time frame, the larger the move. So let's just say if I see something like a bull flag, right? That's probably the most common pattern that people's probably heard of if you've been playing stocks, right? So if I see a bull flag pattern on the 1 minute, that lets me know that this thing, when something breaks out, it can possibly go for like 3-4 candles, maybe sometimes. Right? So that means it can go for sometimes less, but you get the gist of it. Right? So you have to apply that same exact thought process to weekly charts and daily charts. Right? So if I see a bull flag on a weekly and this thing breaks out for 3 candles or 4 candles, that means that it's breaking out for 3 to 4 weeks. Now, don't get lost right here. This is where it's going to get a little bit sticky for some people, right? If you see something breaking a pattern, or if you see anything breaking levels on larger time frames, there is nothing stopping you from playing that on a smaller time frame. Because if something is breaking out on the weekly, doesn't that mean that there has to be breakouts on the smaller time frames, such as the 4-hour or the 1 hour, or if you like to day trade, the 5-minute, 15-minute? To make these candles like this that are bullish on these weekly charts and these larger time frames, there has to be that same type of direction movement on the smaller time frames. The way that I like to find my watch list, it really doesn't matter if I want to day trade it or swing trade. It all depends on that probability, number one. Right? So, yep, Terry, that's exactly right. It says smaller time frames build the larger ones. Exactly. Just like if you see a bearish type of day on SPY, let's see. Let's look at a bearish day on SPY just to show you guys an example. I guarantee you will see one. We have a bearish day on SPY right here, right? This day on SPY, we had a bearish engulfing on a day. I guarantee you if I come to my 5-minute, we'll probably see some type of bearish pattern or setup, anything like that. If I look right here, without even looking too far, for one, it rejected this level, right? So that's number one. I mean, and I also see a bear flag right? So that's just looking at that quickly. So I just show you that to say, once you see those things on a larger time frame, it's nothing stopping you from day trading it on a smaller one if you like to day trade, right? So it's all about probability. I want to come through and I look through stocks and I'm asking myself, okay, are these things breaking a level? Is it about to break a level? Is it breaking a pattern or is it about to break a pattern? If the answer is yes to one of those things that are about to break or I have already broken, I need to be watching. That's giving me my probability, right? So think about if you see something that's breaking a level and also breaking a pattern. Now you start having what is called confluence. Confluence is 2 or more things joining together and basically saying the same type of thing, right? So if I'm seeing something, let's say we have a bull flag, something breaks a bull flag on the daily chart, and it also breaks a key level on the daily chart, you have 2 things on that same large time frame that is saying hey, we may be going to the upside. So the probability would be to play the upside, right? And then even if you start adding in things such as volume, you could have even more confluence, right? So that gets to that probability piece. That probability piece, I mostly look for setups, setups in the levels. So like we can just kind of look at a couple things here really fast while we're talking about this. I'm gonna clear all these drawings. If we was kind of thinking about levels, kind of first I always like to look at my levels and not even going too far on Apple. Here you can kind of see that 181 around 181.31 is a key level, right? So there's not really a pattern right now, sort of say, unless I come to a smaller one and I can see, is it one formed on a smaller one? And I wouldn't say that it is. I would just say that I have a level right? Things tend to move level to level or zone to zone, right? Depending on whichever one you use, right? So the first thing you're looking for those levels, you're looking for those patterns, or those zones, whichever way you like to trade, right? So that gives you that profitability, right? We're about to move into, that gives you the probability, sorry. We're about to move into profitability in just a second. So let me know what questions do you have about the probability, or if anything's hazy about the probability, let me know before we move to profitability, because this is what really the meat and potatoes of the watch list. Um, so I got a question right here. How are you finding the key levels? So key levels, I define key levels as well, first of all, I use like a level system, and then you're looking on your chart for where can you place a horizontal line that the stop touches minimum 3 to 4 times. Honestly, minimum 4. The more times it touches on these larger time frames, the stronger the level is. So like Apple here, 181.31, you see this touch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times it wicked off of this line right here. And this is just from June. So this lets you know that, okay, I kind of need to be watching Apple, right? And I need to be watching Apple for the simple fact that I know when it gets to this point, it's going to have a reaction. We are either going to break down or we're going to break above, because at these levels, right, at these levels, there are buyers and sellers. And you got to remember with levels, it's not always just super perfect, right? So this thing could be off 10 cents, 12, like it could be off a little bit, right? But you know around this area, this is where you can expect to see a reaction, right? And one thing that I do want to tell you guys is it's not about the level. It's about what it's doing at the level. Don't buy anything just because it gets to a level or just because it gets above a level or below. That's not what you do. You're going to get faked out. I guarantee you. You're going to get faked out. It's not about the level itself. It's about what that stock is doing at the level. We got a couple more questions here. So that's what we're going to get to next. Mr. Kirk said, where would the next level be? That's what we're going to get to next. Says, so when you say you watch what's been trading, how are you finding what's been trending? How are you finding that? Okay. Reaction to key level. Should we use the daily to find levels? All right. So that's a great question. Just kind of say, well, how do you even find out what you want to watch? What I suggest anyone doing, like if you don't even have a watch list, what I suggest you doing is starting off with stocks that people trade the most, right? And it doesn't have to be the most expensive stocks, but the hottest thing in the stock market for a long time now are tech stocks, right? So anything like Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, like any tech stock, you want to be looking at them because those are the stocks that have the most volume on the stock market right now. And it has been that way for quite some time. If the market starts to shift trading airlines a whole lot more. You can start shifting to airlines, things of that nature. But you kind of want to stay with the overall market, right? It's then to trade against it. Because what you're gonna see here, if you start looking at stocks that maybe people haven't been trading as much as they used to, such as COVID stocks or such as stocks like Clorox, things like that, people or any of the COVID stocks, you will notice that their volume has dropped out tremendously. As option traders, we need volume. So you need to be trading things or looking at things that have volume. So literally almost any tech stock that you can think of is going to have that volume, right? Be the most expensive stocks at all, right? I have Instagram that I have that shows you some smaller stocks to trade if you are a smaller account. There's nothing wrong with being a small account. You just have to know your limits for sure. Let's see. I think it was another question. Should we use the daily to find that level? Yep. So when I'm coming through my watch list, I like to use the daily and the weekly starting off, right? So that daily and that weekly, what that's going to do, that's telling me what I'm looking at, right? So before I even come down and start finding any entries or anything like that, I'm looking at that daily and that weekly because that's giving me the view for the largest types of moves that I can find. If you see a pattern on a daily or weekly, you need to be watching because that is going to be the larger move. If you see a pattern or something breaking a level or getting to a zone on smaller time frames, of course you can take that, but you have to realize that those moves are not going to be nearly as big as a move on a daily or weekly. So I always like to base, no matter if I'm day trading or swing trading, I'm basing it off of the daily or weekly time frame. 9 times out of 10. All right. Are there any more questions about the probability side? So what time frame do you take your entries? We're going to get to that when we start talking about the profitability in just a second. We're going to get to that. All right. I think everyone is good. So do you pay attention at what sector is being traded currently? Yep. So that's kind of goes back to what has that volume, right? So if crypto get hot, then we're kind of gonna be looking at crypto. We know crypto right now has been going down. So you're either looking to play downside or you're looking to leave it alone, right? You want to play what is hot. Say you use heat map for that. Yep, you can do that. Or the more time or more experience you get in the market, you'll kind of have that sense of stocks that you kind of know about already, right? So it's nothing wrong with scanners or maps or anything like that at all. All right. So we talked about the who. Okay. Now let's talk about what. Who, what, when, where. What is still dealing with the probability? What are you looking at this stock for? Right? What are you looking at this stock for? And that goes back to those questions. It goes back to, is it breaking a key level? Is it about to break a key level? Is it breaking a pattern? Or is it still in a pattern? If it hasn't broken a level and it's not near that level, or if it hasn't broken that pattern yet, move on. Right? If it's about to do that or it has already done that, then you need to be watching. Right? And if something is doing both of those, if it's breaking a level and a pattern, or if it's doing one or the other, you want to be watching it because that move can be a good move, especially if you're doing what I'm telling you about here, looking at it from the larger time frame. I do top-down analysis. Any move I make is going to be based upon the larger time frame. That doesn't mean that I only enter off of the larger time frames, but the move itself, I'm watching it due to something that I see on this larger time frame. The what is that breaking that pattern, or it's about to break this level. Those two are the main things that I look for. I run a level to level system. So I'm looking for patterns and I'm looking for levels. Those are the two main things. right? So that's the what. Those are the questions that you ask yourself: who, what, when, right? So now we are talking about when. When can this move happen? When can we expect this move to happen, right? So when you're talking about when you are expecting this move to happen, you kind of have to think about what I said earlier. At these levels, give you the reactions, right? So at these levels, give you the reactions. So if I know, like we're going to use Apple, for instance, right here. Apple is at 178.61. I know that above this, I could possibly get an explosive move simply because this is a level that is a daily level. And it's honestly probably a weekly level. If I was to zoom out a little bit more, it's actually a weekly level, right? So this is a large time frame level that has been holding for quite some time, right? So anytime you find those levels that have those 4 or 5 touches, when these things break, they give you great moves. So Apple has been being held down recently by this level since August 7th, and we are almost in a whole new month. So for an entire month, Apple has been getting held down by this level. It hasn't been able to break, right? But the thing about it right here, we're talking about the when. You don't know when this thing is going to break. It doesn't mean that this is going to break right now, right? It doesn't mean it's going to do it Monday. It doesn't mean it's going to do it Tuesday. It doesn't even mean it's going to do it anytime next week or the week after, right? So now you might be asking yourself, well, when is it going to do it? Why are you saying when and you're not telling us when? It doesn't matter when. You want to know that the move is there. So this is something that transformed my trading a lot, right? So one thing that you always have to realize is it's incredibly hard to time the market. It's incredibly hard to time it. It's almost impossible to time the market perfectly, right? What you want to do is set your alerts. Set your alerts. You making a watch list, set your alerts. And this is especially for people who may not be able to be on their computer at 9:30, 9:45 every day. You want to set your alerts, right? That's super important. And that is a pivotal part of my game simply because I can't look at the screen all day, right? For one, I hate looking at the screen all day for one. And two, I just hate doing it, right? Um, Set your alerts. So for Apple right here, using this Apple example still, who, what, when, we know when Apple breaks 181.31, that is where we're looking to start watching what it does. Right? This is where we want to start watching Apple. Right? So when it breaks this 181.31, so something that you can do with your alerts is you want to set the alert before it gets there, right? And this is also going to depend on if you want to day trade or swing trade it, which we're going to talk about as well, on kind of differentiating between those. But you want to set your alert before it gets to the level. And it depends that you're watching, right? So a stop is not a super fast get away with placing an alert like 181.15 or 181.20 because we know that most of the time Apple's not going to be just shooting straight up or shooting straight down. It doesn't move super fast, right? Whereas a stock like Tesla, if Tesla level that we wanted to watch was 181.31, we might want to set something like 180.5, which is still $1 away, which that might even be too close a little bit, right? So you want to set that alert relative to where the stock is, right? Especially if it's one like this Apple Play that isn't quite ready yet, but it has to be on that watch list because when it gets here, this is what you want to be watching because you have you got all kind of upside. We're gonna talk about this too in just a second. I see a question right here. You say, so now will you only trade at that 181.31 level? Because sometimes there will be day trade opportunity before it gets to the level. And that is an amazing, amazing question. Now, once again, this is how I kind of like to do it. I like to trade off of the larger levels, right? So for me personally, I will only be touching it when it breaks these larger levels, right? So for me, I'm only going to be trading when it gets here because me personally, I don't like to get caught up in the such small moves. I like to catch that momentum move. You know, I like to hit the home runs. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like to look at those home runs. And exactly what Mr. Kurt said, you got to have that discipline to be able to do that, right? You got to have that discipline to be able to wait on that play. Because like we said, this Apple play, you don't know when. This thing could take a week. It could, this thing could be Monday or Tuesday. Like it could be super close, but you don't know when it's going to do it. You have to set those alerts. Um, Now, Apple is an example of one that is, it's a little bit further away compared to what the stock kind of gives you each day. But there may be some that are a bit closer that we are going to look at in just a moment, right? So that is the win. The win, you don't always know the win. You're thinking about those questions. You got your who, your who and what is coming from those questions that you ask yourself about. Is it near level? Or is it breaking a level? Or is it about to break a pattern or already breaking a pattern? If the answer is yes to any of those, you need to kind of be watching, right? Because especially if you're looking at these larger time frames, it's telling you that there can be a large move ahead. How large of a move is another question. That's going to be the meat and potatoes of this watch list, how to make that. And we're gonna do a couple examples as well. Let me not get off track here. Right. So does anyone have any questions about the win, or is the win pretty clear to you? Like I said, there are no bad questions. If you have any questions about anything thus far, please let me know. So I know it's a lot of information, so hopefully you're kind of taking notes. But we're gonna keep this thing going. All right. So we talked about who, talked about what, we talked about when. Let's talk about where. Where can this thing go? That's the question that everybody want to know. Everybody want to know, how far do you think this thing can go? How far do you think it can go up? Can go down, right? That's the question everybody always cares about. Y'all don't care about none of this stuff. We want to know, how far can this thing go? How much money can I make? Right? That's what y'all want to know. So that's what I'm finna give you. Right. So like I said, I run a level to level system. So I like to find things at one level and I like to potentially trade it to the next level. Now, this where is as simple for me. Like I said, I do level to level system and I use larger time frames. For me, this where is going to be the next key level. Where is the next key level? Now, let me go ahead and tell you this first. You don't have to necessarily hold to the next key level all the time, right? You have to understand what kind of market conditions you are in. So that's one thing. Understand what kind of market condition you are in, for one, because sometimes it's better to scalp. Sometimes you can hold trades. Like as of right now, we're in a very volatile market right now because we're at some super crucial levels for spot. So as of right now, you're probably not really looking to swing a whole lot as of right now due to how volatile the market is, right? But that where is going to be the next key level. This is the number one thing that I care about when I'm looking at stocks that I want to put on my watch list. Number one is, how far can this thing go, right? Because no matter if I see a pattern or if I see it breaking a level, If I don't think it can go that far, I don't want to watch it right now. Simple as that. This is the number one thing. How far can it go? Right? So we're still going to use this Apple example right here. And I'm just going to I'm looking at this from the daily time frame because we are still relatively close to the highs. Not super close, but still relatively close. And if we're looking at Apple right here, we know we want to set an alert for around 181.5 because we're looking at this level. And we feel that above this, we can have a nice move, right? So if I'm looking here, first thing I kind of notice is we have a gap, right? So we have a gap right here. That's number one. I'm not really gonna get a whole lot of two gaps, but what I will tell you is a lot of times gaps get filled. All right, take the information and do what you will with that. A lot of times, 90% of the time, especially on large stocks like this, the big stocks, gaps get filled. Right. So if we're thinking about levels, then we kind of want to look and we see, where do we have 3 to 4 touches that so I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at this level right here. This is from the daily, right? And something that you guys, if you've been with me for a minute, I like to plot my levels and I like to label them, right? And that just helps with me knowing what kind of level am I dealing with, right? So with this Apple setup right here, I'm looking at 181.31, and I know my next key level is 183.87 due to this line right here. So that one touch, wicked off here, solid candle here. We have 4+ touches, right? Now, this where is going to be determined by that stock, right? So you have to ask yourself, okay, so I see my next key level. Is this move a lot for this stock, right? So now we're talking about profitability. We're on to profitability now. Is this a profitable move for this stock? Can I make, if Apple goes from 181.31 to 183.87, is it worth me putting my money up? Ask yourself that. Think about if Apple was to go from 181.31 to 183.87 in a day, would that be a nice move for Apple? Yes, that would. So something like Apple tends to move like $1 to $1.50 a day, something like that. Anything above that is pretty good, right? So this is a nice move for Apple. So noticing that this is the next key level and saying that, okay, this is a good move. If Apple was to make this move in a day, that's letting me know that this is a great move that I want to possibly look at playing. And this is the same recipe that you take to any other stock, right? You find those levels, you ask yourself those questions, the who, what, when. Now you're trying to find that where. The where is arguably probably the most important, right? Because if let's say, let me give you guys something that you will see a lot. So let's just say, for example, just for an example, if I had a level right here, right? So let's say I had a level at 181. Let's move it even closer because you're gonna see this a lot if you use the level to level system. Let's say that I have this level at 181.31, and I also have this level at 181.82. Notice that this 181.31 is a daily level, but let's say that this 181.82 was a weekly level. Which level is stronger, the weekly level or the daily level? I see weekly. Yep, exactly. Weekly. Yep, the weekly level is stronger. The larger the time frame that you find a level on, the stronger that it is, right? So let's even say it was a little bit closer. Let's say it's 181.65. but you have the daily level, but you have a weekly level right above, right? This type of trade here, you have two approaches to this. If this was how Apple was, you would either have to wait until you get above that weekly level or not worry about the trade right now at all. Just simply because, yes, it can break this daily level, but with this weekly level, it can come right here and get rejected, right? So you have these two levels right by each other. So you want to either, number one, wait until it passes that larger time frame level that is right by it, or you just want to not watch it right now, right? Because it's all about how far can it go. So now from this point, you just cut that 181.31 to 183.67 to the 181.65 to 183.87, which is still a pretty good move for Apple, in my opinion. But that's kind of how you have to look at it, right? And we're not really gonna get a whole lot into how you go about it. There are multiple different strategies that you can take here. You can take the breakout or retest. You can take the straight breakout, right? It's up to you. It's whatever strategy that you like. Me personally, with larger time frames, I love to play the breakout and retest of larger time frames. Yep. I see someone said, Mr. Billy says the weekly levels will burst through those daily levels. Exactly. Exactly. So if it breaks that weekly, if it was a weekly here, then that would be giving you even more confluence that this thing is gonna go, right? I seen a question right here that says, how do you know when to hold or swing, right? And that's the beauty of making your watch list like this. The beauty of making your watch list like this is you can do whichever one you want to do, right? Number one, it always depends on the market conditions, number one, right? So let's say that we were in a bullish type of market. Right now, we're not really super bullish right now, but let's say that we were in a super bullish market. If we're in a super bullish market and I see that Apple has room to go from 181.31 to 183.87, I would look to possibly swing simply because I know that I'm already playing in the direction of the market. I would want to swing because I already know I'm playing in the direction of the market. If the market was coming down, you possibly you have two options. You could either possibly look for a day trade on that, or you could even look for a rejection, right? And that's getting into kind of more advanced type of things that we're not going to kind of get into tonight. But try to play the stocks in the direction of the market. So if Apple gets up to this level and the market is bullish, it's more likely to be able to be swung, right? The beauty of making the watch list like this that I found for me personally, like I said, I'm showing you guys how this works for me, is it doesn't matter if you want to day trade it or swing trade. Because you're looking at this larger time frame, it's these candles represent the entire day, right? So if something breaks out, if something is breaking out, you expect it to break out for more than a candle, right? That's a good breakout. More than a candle is a good breakout, right? So if this thing breaks out for at least a couple candles, you're gonna expect this thing to come up here, which a couple candles on this daily is at least 2 days, right? Um, but the beauty about this is you could be the type of person where you say, well, I don't like swing trade. That's perfectly fine. Because guess what? Your next level that you really have to worry about isn't until all the way up here until 183.87, right? Now if you want to day trade off of this, then all you would have to do, and I'm gonna give you guys, I actually wasn't even planning to talk about this, but I'm gonna give you guys this anyway. If you know that this is your level and you want to day trade, and you might be like, well, I want to get the most that I can out of my day trade, but I don't want to you know, I don't want to try to hold it all the way up here. All you have to do from your larger time frame to find some day trading levels, all you do is start coming down. All you do is you start coming down and you look for levels on a smaller time frame. So now I'm looking at something like a 4 hour and I'm asking myself the same exact process. I'm asking, what are these levels? Are there any, how far can this thing go? You can ask yourself that same exact this to that smaller time frame. Because just like we said at the beginning, for these things to make these moves on the larger time frame, it has to be going that direction in the smaller time frame. So I'm willing to bet y'all right now, everybody on this live, if Apple breaks this and it goes to the upside, I guarantee you will see some type of pattern or some type of bullish confirmations on the smaller time frames that will tell you that it's good to get in. I'm willing to bet anybody right now. I promise you. Because these smaller time frames tell you why these larger time frames are moving like this, right? So you're using the larger time frame to base the trade, but for the technicalities of the trade, as far as the entries, you come down to the smaller ones. You're just using this larger time frame to say, hey, I want to put this on my watch list because I know it has a possible large move. This larger time frame is just telling you, hey, the move is coming, but to get the technicalities, you got to come down to a smaller. So if I was looking at Apple right here, I know my level that I like is 181.31. It's not there yet, so of course I would set my alert. But I asked myself, okay, where can we go above this, right? And a simple tactic that you can take is to find the next level. So a lot of times you can look for highs, such as this one right here, right? You can look for highs, you can look for levels in between, things of that nature. The first one that I kind of see right here is this level around 182. Like it's not perfect right here, but it's like right at 182. 181.96. Cool, whatever. So if you was looking to day trade on Apple, we know that on this smaller time frame, which is the 1 hour, ask yourself, is 181.31 to 181.96. That is 65 cents, if my math is correct. Is that move enough for you to catch a day trade on Apple? You got to ask yourself that question. Yes, it is. A 60-cent move on Apple is enough to net you a great day trade. Right? So even if you wasn't looking to swing, this would be my first target above this point. Now remember what I keep saying, you're not getting in because of what it does here. You get in because of what it does here, not because of it getting there. Right? So you want to have bullish confirmations around this area, right? But you know, as far as a day trade, I'm looking for this thing to go above here and to try to test 182. That's what I'm looking for. Right? Let me know if this makes sense. I don't want to lose it anyway. Because I know it can get confusing when you're switching and not really initially plan to get, to be honest. But let me know if this is making sense to you, or where is it cloudy at? Let me know. All right. Say yes, say writing as fast as I can. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a lot. It's a lot of info, but I'm really trying to make sure I give y'all all that I can think to give y'all about making a watch list. Um, this is how I do it. Talk about who, what, when, where. Who, what, when, where. The who and the what is gonna be covered by those questions, right? The levels, you find the levels. Is it a pattern? Is it breaking those levels or breaking those patterns, right? So if it is, we're moving on to that. Scratch it. Move on. I promise you, you don't have to fall in love with a single stock or a single direction. As much as I love to trade AMD to the upside, I guarantee you I'm one of the first people in puts when it comes down. I guarantee you. And when AMD doesn't have a setup, I'm not trading. All right. So the main thing with these watch lists, if you use a level to level system like I do, is going to be how far this thing can go, right? And we're looking for things to that the main profitability that you're looking for are those key levels. You're looking for how far are these key levels apart. That is the main thing that you're looking for. And I see I'm at 7 o'clock already. Man, it's going kind of fast. Do you buy 0 days or weekly contracts when day trade? Yeah, so I do day trade weeklies, sometimes 0 days. Uh I do. I do. When I'm scalping, if I scalp, then I'm looking at the the weeklies for sure for scalping. But if it's something that I feel like something like this, if the market was going to the upside, um, and I felt like we could catch a good move here, I would probably get like next week or something because although I'm looking for, you know, it to happen very quickly, I still wanted to put a little bit of time on it just in case, right? But I'm really not the type to get super long out contracts too much. I have a long contract right now on Microsoft, and it's taking everything in me to keep that patience to stay with that play. I like these shorter term moves. The reason that I'm showing you guys stuff like this is because I like to hit those. These type of plays are home run type of plays, right? These are home run type of plays that you don't have to hold forever, because what this tells you is that since it's these large time frame breaks and these large time frame levels, when it breaks, it's going to give you an explosive move. That's what I like to look for. I'm looking for explosive moves, and this is how you find those. So we talked about who, what, when, where. All right. So let me give you guys a play that I'm watching, and we're gonna talk about who, what, when, where. Wow, we're gonna go through all that, right? AMD. All right. So this is my top watch for the coming up week, and I'm going to remove all the drawings. We're gonna look at it from scratch. So my baby AMD next week. Go ahead and let y'all know now. All right. So if we start at the week, right? Oops, I did not thought I removed the drawings already. If we will start at the weekly, I'm looking for the who, right? I'm looking for, is this thing near levels? Is it, breaking out of a pattern? Those type of questions. We starting with the who, what questions. And always remember, if it doesn't make it past the who, what, scratch it. If it's not making it past the who, what, don't put it on your watch list, right? Um, so looking at AMD here, not gonna come through and plot all the levels, but I can tell you guys the level that I was kind of watching. The level that I'm watching is right around here, right? And it's kind of a rough level right here. It's right around this 101 to 102 kind of area. And looking at it from the weekly chart, you can see here that since 2021, this has been a level that we have either struggled at or we've bounced hard at. Got a hard bounce here, got a hard bounce here, got a nice breakdown here, we got a very nice rejection here, rejection here, rejection here, breakout here, right? So is it near a key level? Check. It's near a level on the weekly, right? So it passed that part already. It's near level on the weekly, right? So who? AMD, what? What is it doing? It's near a level on the weekly time frame, right? So two things can happen right here. Number one, we can break down, right? We can break down. We've seen that from this point. We've broken down plenty of times right here. Or we can do what we did here. We can bounce. We can break out, right? So it's shown that it can do that off of this level. So AMD, I'm watching it because it's near a super key level. Now, one thing right here that I'm going to tell you guys that a lot of people kind of really don't talk about a whole lot is when you're talking about larger time frames, when these things break out, they're going to come back and retest. When things break out and come retest the breakout points, many times that is a high probability play to the upside, right? Many times a breakout and retest on a larger time frame is a high probability play to the upside or to whatever side it came from. So I'm looking at AMD right here. Notice that this was the level that it needed to break out. And you can see that from way back here. It broke, and it's finally came back down, right? It's finally come back down here, all right? So who, AMD, what, it's near a super key level, and it's a breakout and retest type of play. So that's the what. When, let's talk about when. Let's talk about when. If I come to my daily right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and label this for you guys. Let me show you guys. This is a live look at how you make the watch list. If I'm looking at my win right here, you are looking, imagine what you're looking for, what it's doing at the level. Now on Friday, we're looking for what kind of candle is forming at these type of levels, right? So right here, AMD, this is kind of a indecision type of candle, right? So although it's retesting, this isn't a bullish hammer, or it isn't a super bearish type of candle here, right? So it's kind of an indecision candle, right? So I'm being patient right now. But that doesn't mean that this thing can't be on my watch list. I know that this thing can still bounce because it's a breakout and retest, right? It's on the daily time frame, which is a larger time frame. And if you are the type of person to use trend lines, if you use trend lines, let me show you this. What is this? For those of you who use trend lines, what would this be called? Let me highlight it for you. Anyone know what that's called? Third touch. This is the third touch of the trend line on a large time frame. That third touch of the trend line are high probability plays to the side that it came from. Right? So it came from the upside to retest. Right? So this is still going towards that who or what. Right? It's still going towards that who what. Your breakout and retest, right? It's near a key level. We got the third touch, right? So all of these things right now are saying the possibility of it being bullish, right? It's saying it has a possibility to be bullish. So right now, with these three things, I would rather be putting my bias to the upside than the downside. Now, if this thing starts breaking below, then we'll have a different conversation. But as of right now, my bias is to the upside. And I'm gonna kind of speed up a little bit here because I did want to get to the thing that I'm giving everybody. Um, so we got 1, 2, 3 touch, third touch of the trend line, right? So if we're looking here, we're like, okay, this thing is possibly bullish. Who, what, when? This win is not really something that you got to set an alert for. You still can. The reason that I say that is because your win is honestly right now, right? So this move can happen right now because we are at the level right now, right? We're right here at this level, right? So I already know this is going to bring up the question, okay, well, it's a little bit above your level. So how do you know when to get in? How do you know where to get in, right? See how we keep coming through these same questions? We always coming through that who, what, when, where, why, right? So we got the who, what, we have when. Let's talk about where. Where can this thing go? Where do I want to get in at, right? So let's talk about it. What do I just say earlier? I said once you find those plays on larger time frames, your wares can, for one, can come from a larger time frame as well. If we're just talking about larger time frame levels right here, and I was trying to look for some levels, I would possibly say I'd say 105 for sure. I'd say 107. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches there. Not a whole lot of touches here, but still a level. So we got 105, we got 107. Then from that point, I would probably it gets very, very choppy around here. You can nitpick and say 109 if you want to. Yes, I will. I'll say that. Cool. Whatever. All right. I got three levels to the upside right here. 105, 107, 109. Okay. Ask yourself, from relative to where AMD is right now, is 105 enough possible profit to make a good profit off of AMD? Yes, it is. $3 move on AMD is pretty good, right? Also, note that what has AMD done, also note what has AMD done when we had these third touches, right? So note that this is only a $3 move from the next level. But if we look at what AMD has done, we're just gonna look at history, not even thinking about the levels right now. Just looking at history, when AMD has touched this thing, we've ran, right? And I'm not saying it's guaranteed to do that again, but we're talking about probability right here, right? It's probability, right? So every time that's touched since January, we've touched, ran, touched, ran, touched. Are we gonna run? Maybe, right? So we can break below. But if we're just looking at history and we're thinking about what do the probabilities say, the probabilities say that we may run, right? Doesn't mean we have to, but that's just what it says. All right. So we have some possible levels that we can look at. And there is, we come down. If we come down right here to the 4-hour, we can notice that these levels are still pretty accurate. Still pretty accurate right here. Right? So you might say, okay, well, where do you want to get in? The simplest thing for AMD right here would be the absolute simplest way to get in AMD, in my opinion, would be above the high of Friday. That would be the simplest way, right? Because with this type of move, yes, I have levels, but with this type of move on the third touch, I'm kind of expecting AMD to do more than 105 if we're going to bounce, right? So I'm willing to risk that we probably might go higher than 105. So my type of entry here, my where that I would like to get in AMD is above the high for Friday. That's for me personally. Yes, I know that we could run into some turbulence at 105, but just thinking about where we are, well, on this third touch, I like my chances, right? And if we break the low, we're probably gonna be coming down. That would be my possible entry for AMD right there, right? It looks like it's right at 104. Okay. Yep, and that's something you can also do. Right. I didn't get into that a whole lot. I didn't get into it a whole lot because I don't know how, advanced some people are. But something you can also do is take these type of entries, like I said, if you want to get in above the high of Friday, and you could use, supply to take your exits, things of that nature, the smart money concepts. You can do that as well. But this is one that I would really like to get in because we're on that third touch. That's the main thing. The probabilities are saying that we can go to the upside. So with high probability comes high profitability. All right. So that's a play that I really, really like towards the upside. Right. So let me try to recap this thing before I tell you guys what I'm give y'all, everybody here. To recap this, for your watch list, you need two things. You need probability, number one, and you need profitability, number two. Probability and profitability, they're going to run hand in hand. So how do you know how much probability and profitability you have? You have to go through your elementary style questions, right? Your who, what, when, where. And you can even throw the why in there if you want to, right? Who, what, when, where. That's the questions that you need to know for something to be on your watch list, right? Your who and your what is going to be determined by, for me, the way I trade, is this thing near level or breaking a level? Or is it about to break up out of a pattern, or is it already breaking a pattern? If the answer is yes to more than one of those, you got something good on your hands, possible, right? If the answer is no to all of those, then don't watch it. Simple as that. You don't have to watch everything every day. Only watch the highest probability things. And if you don't have anything on your watch list, there's nothing wrong with that too. Every day is not a great day to trade. There's not a great setup every day, right? Especially if you use large time frames, right? So we got the who, what, when, you know, your when, set your alerts, right? Sometimes we will have stocks that have great setups, but they're not ready yet, right? Set your alerts. Who, what, when, where. Your where, you want to find your key levels, right? Above these key levels can act as trigger points, right? So just because it hits a level doesn't mean that it's going to keep going up or keep going down here. We're interested to see what it does here, right? All right, so who, what, when, where. If you are the type of person that you like to day trade, you can still use this exact same formula. All you would have to do is you would come down, right? So you know your key levels. Now you would come down a smaller time frame, or you come down another time frame to like a 1 hour, 4 hour, 30, however you want to do it. And you say, okay, above this point, what are my levels in between here? What are my levels in between this key level, right? If you're like a day trader or scalper, that's kind of what you're looking for. You know, those are the questions that you want to ask, and those are the things that you need to build a killer watch list, right? So the larger that you can find those plays that have those larger gaps when it comes to level, those are the best plays that you can find. Those are the plays that are going to be the most explosive. Those are the plays that are going to pay you the most money, right? And to kind of show you guys an example, I hope I didn't clear it off right here. But let's see, did I clear this off? I probably did. No, I did. Okay, just show you guys an example right here. An example right here is Riot, right? So we know Riot is a smaller stock. Now these levels right here are all from my daily time. So I have a level at 13, 12.99, 14.42, 16.09, 17.01. All right. Who, what? Right. Why are we watching this thing? Started watching around here because one, it was breaking out of the pattern. Two, it was nearly about to break out of a key level. So I want to watch it. Right? Okay. When? The when is right here. When it breaks this is when I want to start watching, see what it does. Where? Where can we go? The first level that I had above 13 was 14.42, which ironically was also the top of the flag. Is 13 to 14.42, is that $1.42 move a lot for Riot? Yes, it is. $1.42 move on Riot. If you catch that on an option play, you're probably gonna make 200-300%. You know, depending on what kind of contract you get, you're gonna make 200-300%, and not even just on a week. Weekly, you're gonna make more than that. All right. Next, above this level was in a level until 16.09, another $1.60. 17.01, another dollar almost. So you got to start asking yourself, okay, these are some big gaps right here. So I know all I need is some momentum. If I get some momentum, this is when you're gonna get those plays like this. You're looking for those plays that have these large gaps between these key levels. That's number one. Is it comes down to the levels, the patterns, right? You might use smart money concepts. A lot of that stuff is going to be very simple, right? It's a different way of looking at it, but a lot of the stuff is very similar. Um, I hope this kind of made sense. Let me know if this made sense or if this has helped you in any kind of way. Let me know. Or if anything's unclear, let me know that as well. Because that's really the gist of it right there. Sometimes I feel like I just be rambling, so I hope it makes sense a little bit. Okay. See some people saying it was a little helpful. Okay. Glad it was a little helpful for y'all. Okay. And like I said, there are many different ways to trade. I don't think I trade the best way or none of that. I'm just trying to help y'all by telling you what worked for me, right? So that's all I'm doing. Um, I had also told you guys, I made a announcement on my page that there would be something that I would give away. Um, and okay, I got a question right here. How do I know for a start that it's a big move? That's a good question. And that, that's what we were just talking about. How do you know it's a big move coming? You know it's a big move coming if you come to those daily or weekly levels and the next level above that or below that is big. Like if it's a large gap, right? And you have to do it if it's relative to the stop. So relative to Riot is $1.42 a large move. Yes, right? Relative to Riot is 1442 to 1609 a large move. Yes. Is 1609 to 1701 a nice size move for Riot? Yes. Right? So look how fast this thing, bigger the time frame, bigger exactly. That's exactly what it is. Bigger the time frame, the bigger the move. That's exactly what you kind of look up there. It said look up ATR of the stocks you trade. Yep, that can help as well. Looking up the ATR, that can help you as well. That's definitely going to help you when it comes to finding out, okay, is this a large move, right? Because someone with a little bit more experience, they might know that a $5 move on Apple is a lot, but if you don't really trade Apple, then you don't know. You say profit wise, how can I calculate? I mean that one you kind of want to start looking at the contracts. You want to start looking at the delta, theta, how many contracts you get. You start getting into that kind of thing, right? So if if you was trying to play something and you think it can go up $5 and you get an in the money call, you're gonna be up a lot, right? But someone just dropped a link to a calculator, if you like that as well. All right. So that was really what I had as far as that's exactly my thought process to how I make my watch list. Like I said, I didn't want to go too in depth about the technicals side of it. So I hope I didn't lose anyone there. Um, but I didn't want to go too deep to the technical side. I kind of wanted to stay around the basis of it. What are you looking for? Why are you looking for this? You need to know who, what, when, where, and why if you want to. Who, what, when, where, why. You need to know that stuff. If your stock can answer them questions, put it on your watch list. And just because something is on your watch list doesn't mean that it's going to hit today, right? So that a lot of you may have seen that Delta Airlines play. I was actually watching Delta Airlines the whole week. I was waiting on that Delta Airlines drop the whole week. It just so happened I posted that on Friday simply because I seen Boeing already had the bad news, right? So kind of getting into sectors right there a little bit, right? But the setup was always there. It just wasn't ready, right? So sometimes you can have that stock that has that setup, but it's not time yet. It can still be on your watch list, but that alert, you just need that alert, right? So that's all you're kind of looking for. Um, One thing in trading that is super important, in my opinion, is journaling, right? Journaling your trades is super important, right? So not only do you need to notice patterns on the market, you need to notice patterns within yourself. Believe it or not, you're going to be your biggest, especially if you're just starting out or even if you've been trading for a while, your biggest opponent in trading is going to be yourself. How many times, or let me know in the chat, how many of you have thought something was going to go up or thought something was going to go down and you got out of it and you come back to see that it did exactly what you thought it was going to do? Let me know if that has ever happened to you. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I just asked that question just to show you you are going to be you are going to be your biggest enemy, because not even gonna lie to you, these technicals are one thing, the psychology is a whole nother thing, right? So no matter how good you get at technicals, probably still gonna lose trades because of your psychology, right? But the thing is, like I just said, don't just notice patterns on the market. Notice patterns within yourself, right? So know that, okay, I trade this type of market better than this type of market. I trade better when the market's going up, or I trade better when the market's going down. Those small things like that go a long way. Because the thing about trading, like I said, there's no wrong way to do it. There are some people who only like to trade when the market's going up. There are some people who only like to trade when the market's going down. Some people like to trade when the market going sideways. It's about you. Don't try to be like someone else. Like, you're going to have to do what works for you. And what I want to give everyone here that's live today, we got 75 people here. What I want to do is to give you guys something that I have been working on for a minute. I really haven't released it to a lot of people yet. I've given it to a couple people, but I made a trading journal, right? So I made a trading journal that kind of goes over the exact things that we talked about today. It goes over that: who, what, when, where, why, right? So let me pull it up. And everyone is going to get a copy of this trading journal that I made. You do need a Gmail account, right? Because it's going to be in a Google Sheet, and I'm going to drop the link to it. All you have to do is click this link and download the file, right? But I really wanted everyone to have this, because what I feel like has really taken my game to the next level is being able to journal, right? And my old journal today, I had a journal from 2019, a whole year worth of notes from 2019 to 2020, right? And the more that you can start noticing things, the more that you will know, okay, I know last time I seen this, I did this, so I need to look out for that. Or I know the last time the market did this, it was doing this, so I need to look out for that, right? Little things go a long way, right? And journaling is one of those little things that you have to do. If you want to get serious about trading, you need to start journaling your trades. Not only can it help with, keeping up with how much you made or lost, it's going to do that, but you also, main thing is keeping up with those patterns within yourself, right? That's how I learned. I wasn't good at trading. I wasn't good at trading with Bollinger Bands and VWAP, because I had all that stuff journal, right? So all that, almost every time I was taking trades like that, I was losing. And I only knew that because I was journaling, right? I didn't have to do what was making me lose, right? And it's not saying that that stuff don't work, because it definitely does, but that wasn't what worked for me, right? So I noticed every time I was taking patterns, and not only just patterns, but taking patterns along with the other confirmations I always talk about, I was winning a lot more. That's what worked for me. That's how I found out my strategy is by journal, right? So that's the most important thing. If you're serious about trading, you got to journal, right? So I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm gonna go over it with y'all. I hope y'all like it. Spend a little time putting it together. And I got an example here. I'm gonna show you guys how to use it. Okay. All right. Very fair. All right. So it's called RJ's Easy Entry Calculator, right? Um, I do have some keynotes right here. The keynote, you actually don't need this one. Delete this. You do need this keynote. One keynote that you do want to know is that the contract sale right here, um, whenever you input the contract sale, it automatically assumes that you sold the amount of contracts that you initially bought, right? So that's how I programmed it to do. So we'll get into that in just a second, because it's going to make sense in just a second. So for this right here, the easy entry calculator, you literally are coming through and you're basically plotting your who, what, when, where, and your why. Everything I tell y'all is for a reason. We're gonna go through this stuff very quickly here, because I know it's been an hour and 30 minutes. I didn't plan on being this long. I told you I'd be rambling. Sorry. We got the day. What day you watching this? What's the ticker setup do you see? How are the market conditions? What is your planned entry area? What is your planned stop loss area? Profit. Is this going to be a day trade or a swing trade? Then you have, where did you actually get out? And then you have your notes. This can be your why, or this can be extra things that you want to put, right? So then you have, did you follow your plan? Number one, did you follow your plan? Win or lose or draw, did you follow your plan? Right? Then this is where the calculations start coming in. You want to put your cost per contract, right? And this is going to be the, in the hundreds. So if you get the $125, $125, you want to put 1.25. How many did you get? And then it will automatically calculate how much you spent. So let's say the contracts were $1.25 a piece. Let's say I got 5 of them. It's going to automatically tell you, how much you spent, right? Contract sale price. Let's say I got out of these and I sold it for $2 a piece, right? It automatically calculates your P&L as far as dollar wise, and it automatically does your P&L percentage wise. Automatically does that for you, right? And then the cool thing about this, it tells you your total P&L right here, but it also will calculate your total P&L up here. So I just got here, but let's say you started off with 1,000. Let's say you start off with, automatically does all of this for you. It tells you the total amount that you have now, and it tells you your P&L. It automatically updates for you. All you have to do is input your numbers. And this is what I was talking about with the sale price right here. It automatically assumes that you sold all of your contracts, right? So if you didn't automatically sell all your contracts, let's say you sold 2, and then you sold 3 later, you can literally just put what was your P&L. So let's say that you held a runner and you end up making $500, right? So if you held a runner, you end up making $500. No worries. It automatically calculated that for you, right? So I made this, and I also have every month down here that that you need. So all you got to do is keep copying this thing, and you can have this as long as you want to have it. I made this for a couple of reasons. For one, I made this so people can be accountable, right? We have to hold ourselves accountable if we want to be serious of trade, right? Because I guarantee you, if you come through and you fill all this stuff out, if you have places that you can't fill out, then that means that you probably don't need to take it. You got to have some confluence, all right? You got to have some conviction to get through all this before you take a trade. That's number one. You got to have some conviction to get through all this. So it keeps that accountability, and it's going to stop you from taking those impulse trades, because you're not going to be able to get through all this stuff if you can't. You might start thinking like, do I really want to take this trade? I can't answer this stuff, right? So then we ask you, did you follow your plan? And then we got the calculations that it's going to do for you. So I feel like this can really help you guys out a lot. I hope you really like it, because it's been helping me. It's been helping me a lot. I've been using it now for quite some time. So I hope you guys like this. And you can just adjust, your initial amount, how much you keep in your account, right? So let's say you keep 2,500. Just an example. All you have to do here to take my example off, so it's fresh for you. You can just put this quantity at 0, and it's going to be, it's zeroed out, right? So all you have to do is start with this right here, your initial amount, and then you can start filling this in from there. Start filling it in from there. So hope you guys kind of like this right here. You say, if I leave some runners, can I do 2 entries, say 1 for 3 and 1 for 2? You can, but I mean, you would kind of have to fill all this out again. I think the easiest thing for you to do is kind of just put whatever your P&L was right here. That's gonna be the easiest thing to do. So all I have to do here is put, the link to this in this chat right here. Let's see, did I have any questions? Okay, you said this is dope. This is dope. Hey, I'm glad y'all like it. I hope you guys like. Definitely let me know, if you guys like it, or how can we make this thing better once you start using it. I just came through and put this together because I feel like it can help some people out, man. Because it definitely helped me out. And I really want people to get serious about trading. So let's do this. All right. So all I gotta do here is make sure everything is good. I'm gonna set the initial amount to 0. So you can set, your initial amount to whatever you want it to be. So once you get it, you just download it, set your initial amount, and hey, you good. good from there. And also remember that you have different months down here, so you keep up with your P&L from each month if you want to, or you can just keep on putting it on the same one. You just want to do one, that's fine. All right. No problem at all. No problem at all. I thank y'all so much for joining this, man. Like it really made my day. If you don't know, I made this, and I'm doing this workshop because I'm doing a Christmas giveaway in my hometown. If you don't know, I'm from Douglas, Georgia, which is a small town, in South Georgia, and I really want to, give back and things like that. And all of the proceeds from this workshop is going straight to it. So it's going to be in December. I just am very appreciative of all of you. Got over 70 people that signed up for this thing, but that is insane. I really was not expecting that. So I want y'all to drop some fires in the chat for yourself real quick. Drop some fires in the chat for yourself. Hey, I thank y'all so much, man. Y'all are amazing. Hope y'all learned something today. Um, I'm gonna keep doing what I do, man, trying to provide value to the community because the community provided value to me when I didn't know what I was doing. um, so I'm about to drop this link right here in the chat. And I'm going to leave it up right here. You know, I'm about to drop it in the chat right now. He said do a GoFundMe. Yeah, I was thinking about doing that as well. I'm gonna do that closer to December. I'm gonna do that close to December. But I'm dropping the thing in the chat right now. You should be able to use this link right here, and you should just be able to go directly to it and download it to your computer. This is a super exclusive, you know, thing right here. I see people logging on already. Hey, that's dope. That's dope. I see people logging on already. Um, so you're going download it, and yeah, I'm going from there. But hey, that's really what I had for today, man. If you guys have any questions, man, I ain't gonna take up all of TC data, man. Y'all, whatever you got, just hit me up. Once again, I appreciate you guys so much. I cannot tell you guys how thankful I am for y'all. But just a little bit, background about me. Um, when I was small, I was like 1 year old. I had hydrocephalus, like that's like fluid on the brain, right? So my odds were very low of living. So I'm always very grateful, and I always went to give back doing things like this because people gave to me when I was small. So hey, this means the world to me. Thank you all so much. Thank you, TC. If y'all don't know, man, TC, that's my boy, man. We go way back. You don't know TC, you need to be following him, especially if you like smart money concepts. Hey, that's your guy. So thank y'all so much. Peace out, man. That's all I got, TC.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. And for people that don't know, RJ was the first person. RJ was the first person that taught me technicals way back in 2021. Yep, man, RJ taught me a lot, man. I showed up each and every week asking a ton of questions. But man, RJ, bro, you always got a special place with me, man.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate that, bro. No, likewise, my brother. Likewise. I mean, you took this thing and ran with it, man. That's exactly that day. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. You took it and ran with it.
Yeah, man. I sure appreciate it, bro. So yeah. All right. Well, I'll you want me to send you the recording to your inbox? Like the link?
Oh yeah.
Got you.
Yep, that'll be great.
Got you.
I'll be able to download it to my computer from there, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'll be able to download from my to my computer from there. And if you want you want the recording, just let me know. I'll probably put it on YouTube with a private link or whatever. I might just make it public. Who knows? I'll probably just make it public. But I'll have that recording for y'all, man. Because I know it was a lot of information.
Yep. Okay. Well, it's gonna probably take about an hour, probably about 15 minutes for the process. So as soon as it's done, I'll send it right to you.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, everybody, if y'all got any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll be up tonight. It's only 7 o'clock, so I'll be up at least until probably 2 or 3. But yeah, that's all I got, man. Once again, thank y'all. Man, huge shout out to TC. Man, I can't thank you enough, man. You saying I ain't gotta do nothing. I gotta get up there to Tennessee something, man. We gotta chop it up, man. I gotta get up there.
Hey, you know we got the study group meetup in October.
It's October, right?
Yeah, October 6th and 7th.
Okay. I definitely, if I'm not doing that with my school stuff, I'm coming up.
I got you. If not, bro, I'll be down there sometime, so we can definitely link up.
Oh yes, sir. We definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, man. This is real good.
Hey, RJ.
Hey.
Hey, this is Yolanda. I live here in Savannah, and I want to tell you, I've been to Douglas, Georgia, because some of my friends live there. It is like Mayberry RFD, brother.
It ain't nothing there, is it?
It is small, but do you know Mary Evans and Alan Evans? They had you might know their kids, Courtney and Ajayla.
Yep.
Yeah, those are my friends. We all met in Italy when we were stationed over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I came to Jayla's graduation when she graduated from whatever the high school is there, Douglas High School.
Yep, Coffee County,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, and then
Hey, it's a small world.
Yeah, it sure is. And she graduated from Georgia. Yeah, she went to UGA. Yeah, so now she's in Virginia working on her master's, I believe, or a doctorate or something like that.
Hey, it is an insanely small world.
It is. And I just want to say, what's up, brah? I'm
Oh,
so
yo. Roof. Shout out to the Reds, man.
Hey, well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate what you just did.
Oh, I thank you. I thank you, sir, for the support. Thanks for hopping on here. Hey, we good enough. We got mutual connections in more ways than one.
I know, yeah. Well, they moved to Atlanta now, so they left Douglas, which I never could understand why they went back to Douglas after he retired from the Army. But yeah.
Yeah, it ain't much info. All right. Well, y'all, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here. Like I said, you got any questions, let me know. Thank everybody once again. Hey, everybody have a blessed one, man. We'll reconvene tomorrow for the watch list. Peace out, everybody.